All right, what we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks is we're going to kind of do the best we can with covering kind of these two standards. We're going to describe the properties of solid liquids and gases. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to start talking about what's going to happen to them when we add or remove thermal energy. So we've already talked a little bit about thermal energy in the last 2 weeks. We're going to talk about it a lot more. And then speaking of thermal energy, the way it's transferred, it can be transferred in 3 different ways, and they're called radiation, convection, and conduction. So over the next 2 weeks, that is what our goal is to cover. So if you were to think of a solid, it's pretty much anything. It's hard to even describe it. If I say, tell me what a solid is, you'd say something that was solid, right? Well, the way they define it is it's something that has a definite shape. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you put it in different containers, it's always going to stay that shape. If you have a rock in your hand, it'll always still be that way. The only way it'd be changed is if you actually made it change. It also has a definite volume. It doesn't matter what container it's in. Once again, it still has the same volume. It still has the same amount of matter in it. Now, the difference between a solid, liquid, and gas, one of the biggest things we're going to be looking at is how close the particles are to each other. And if you notice in this picture down below here, they're so close to each other, they're all touching one another. And that's a big key factor for a solid. One of the main parts we're going to be revolving around today is the attractiveness between them. So a solid, the particles are very attracted to each other. They don't want to leave each other. They're very attracted. And you're going to notice they do move, believe it or not, but they vibrate in all different directions. So there is a type of movement. There's just not a lot of it. All right, when it comes to a liquid, however, it does have a definite volume. If you think about a cup of pop that you've had, or a bottle of it, if you take it out of its bottle and you pour it into a new cup, did you lose any amount of soda? No, it has the same amount of volume as it had before. However, its shape did change. Liquid is going to change, and it's going to change into the shape of container, whatever you put it in. Otherwise, when you poured your bottle of Pepsi, it would still be in the shape of that Pepsi bottle, but instead it filled the new container. Now, a big difference I want you to notice between a solid and a liquid is take a look at the space in between the particles. Okay? Some of them are close and some of them are far away. And it has to do with the movement that they're allowed to have. If you recall the solid, they were touching each other. They were packed into it. It's like they were at a concert. They couldn't move. Okay? They're shoulder to shoulder. However, these ones can move. In fact, they can move past each other. They can move past one another. And because of that, they have weaker attractive forces between each other. Okay? What we're going to be getting at today is the closer they are, the more attracted they are to each other. So if in a liquid they're able to actually pull apart from one another, if they're not as close as they were before, it means they're not going to be as attracted. So they are attracted to each other, but they're more attracted in a solid because they're closer together. Alright, unlike a solid or a liquid, you're going to notice that a gas does not have a definite volume, and because of that, it also does not have a definite shape. If you had a bottle and said you had gas in it, the second you take the cap off, it would lose its shape and it would spread out. Okay? Speaking of spreading out, because they spread out and they're able to spread out much more, their particles are very far apart. And because they're very far apart, their attractive forces are weaker. There's less space in between them, so they're not as attracted. And one of the reasons why they're very weak and that they're far apart is because they're able to move far apart. They have a lot more freedom to do so. Alright, so we talked about the different states of matter, so it's solid, liquid, and gases. And one of the main parts I want you to get from today is what it takes for particle attraction. And that's the concept that the closer the particles are to each other, the stronger they're attracted. So basically, the closer they're together, the harder it is to get them apart. So, in my little picture here, this is going to represent a solid. So, since solids are jam-packed with each other, like they're in a concert, they're shoulder to shoulder, and they're vibrating very slowly, if you will. Um, because of that, they're not able to get away from each other and they're stuck jammed with each other. Therefore, because they have next to no distance between them, they're very attracted. So these two people here, this couple, the closer they are, the more attracted they are. So they are literally smashed together. There's like no space in between them. They love each other and they don't want to leave each other. There's only a few things you can do to make them leave each other, and that would be to pull them apart. Now, in order to pull them apart, you'd have to make them move, and that's going to be a key part. It's a type of kinetic energy. We'll talk about that tomorrow. All right, now if we look at a liquid, you're going to notice that there's a lot more movement between the particles, and because there's more movement, they're able to move away from each other. So sometimes they're farther apart, and sometimes they're closer, and that's okay. But as a whole, the attraction between the particles in a liquid are going to be less attractive than it is in a solid, because the solids are right next to each other. So like in my little doodle here, you notice how there's space between them? They're attracted, sure. They're going to go on a date, but you know what? They aren't as clingy as they were in a solid, if you will. Okay? So they aren't as attractive, but there's still an attraction there. So, a gas. Because they are moving a lot more, you'll notice they move faster. And because they move faster, they have a greater distance between each other. And since there's a greater distance between each other, guess what? They're just not as attractive. They're not attracted to each other. They just move around more. So the goal for today's lesson is understand the difference between a solid, a liquid, and a gas. And understand that the attraction has to do with how close the particles are. Alright, so the homework you have for me today, it's actually really easy and it should be pretty quick. There's 2 pages, but they're really quick. A lot of the answers you can get from my video, and if you can't find it there, you can get it from page 124, that chapter called Solids, Liquids, and Gases. Alright? The first page is going to be just filling in the word that makes sense, whether it's slowest, fastest, moderate, weakest, strongest, whatever, you name it. And drawing an example of what the particles are like in a solid, liquid, and gas. The second page is going to be one of those true or false questions, and there's 7 of them. If they're true, you leave it the same, and if it's false, you write false and then correct it. Put the correct word there. Okay, if you need help, just let me know. Just shoot me an email and I'll get back to you. Have a great day. Bye.